does feel like quite a bit of time since we did our last transfer rumour roundup video, but we have got a lot to go over in today's video. Of course, we had the game going on last night in the Championship between West Brom and Stoke. We'll also be touching on that. But we've had a lot of deals go through in the last 7 days, and of course, we have a lot of transfer rumours to go over today, which of course I'm interested to get your guys' view on. Before we do get into anything though, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. As always, their link will be in the top line of the description down below. Over on the OneFootball app, you can keep up to date with some of the latest transfer rumours currently going around the league and around the footballing world. We also have Championship action going on tonight and tomorrow as well. Preston in action tonight. Interested to see how we get on at Oakwell, but if you want live updates to your phone from those games, you can check out OneFootball. Really handy app that I'd highly recommend. Like I said, link in the description down below. So I'll start the video out by touching on the West Brom game last night, where Stoke walked away with all 3 points from the Hawthorns, beating them by 1-0, and the form that the top two currently find themselves in. I don't think many people would have predicted this, if anyone at all, a month ago. It looked like West Brom and Leeds were going to run away with the league this season, and to be honest, with them both falling off, it does make the lead for a neutral a lot more exciting. The likes of Fulham, Brentford and Forest are all now back within that challenge and within touching distance of the top two, which didn't look possible a few weeks ago. But the game itself, I think that Stoke deserve a lot of credit from this one. Obviously, West Brom weren't helped by Dan Garner going off injured fairly early. I think another hamstring injury, that's going to be a real blow for them going forward. But what I'd say about Stoke is, under O'Neill, there's no doubt quality in that squad. It's just that over the past few years, I think that attitudes at the club, work ethic and commitment are other factors that have been accused of this Stoke squad. But he's got them in a defensive shape now, and there just seems to be a bit more bite about them. You know, they're willing to wind up the opposition up a little bit more, which a few weeks ago we'd just be seeing passive Stoke performances. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore, and the goal, real quality involved in that one. Brilliant pass from Nick Powell into Tommins. He held his man off well, got the ball into Campbell, and then, I mean, what a young striker they've got on their hands there. He slotted it in to make it 1-0, and that was the goal that went on to win it. Massive 3 points for Stoke at the bottom of the table, but West Brom and Leeds, we're in times for them at the moment. So before we do get into any transfer rumours, we will hop through some of the recently completed deals which have gone through over the past 7 days. So Darren Randolph finally completes his move to West Ham after having that medical delayed for quite a while. He did complete the move from Middlesbrough. Swansea completed the loan signing of Conor Gallagher after he was recalled from his loan move at Charlton. Had his debut at the weekend where he put in a really good performance. Hull have been another busy club in the last week. They completed the signing of Martin Samuelson coming over from West Ham, and they also completed the loan signing of Barnsley winger Malik Wilks for the rest of the season. Wilks previously playing under Hull manager Grant McCann from his time at Doncaster, where he had a really successful loan spell there. Things didn't work out for him at Barnsley, but there's still definitely a player in there, and perhaps Grant McCann's the best to get it out of him. Terence Kongolo completed a loan move to Fulham, moving over from Huddersfield, and Jordan Archer also made the move to Fulham. Huddersfield have also been another busy club. They brought in Andy King and Harry Toffolo in the last 7 days. Josh Ginnelly, the Preston winger, has completed a loan move to Bristol Rovers for the rest of the season. QPR completed the loan signing of Jack Clark. Millwall completed the loan signing of Ryan Woods coming over from Stoke for the rest of the season, and Ryan Woods is a really interesting player. Obviously, his career really fell off at Stoke, but from his time at Brentford, probably was one of the best holding midfielders in the league, and if he can recapture that form at Millwall, who are obviously on a fantastic run, I think Millwall have got themselves a cracking player there. Sheffield United have completed the signing of Nottingham Forest defender Jack Robinson. I believe his contract was up at the end of the season, the deal worth to be around about £1 million, and this could be the sort of deal which gets the best of both worlds, really. Forest get a decent fee for a player's contract who's up at the end of the season. Sheffield United get quite a versatile player who can fill in for a number of roles in that squad. And Dave Carby's completed a loan move from Huddersfield, moving to Forest for the rest of the season. This one I find as a really interesting transfer. His time at Huddersfield, I mean, it's not gone to plan. After coming over from Monaco for a lot of money that they forked out for him, he had quite high reviews and a lot of high expectations, but he's never lived up to it on the pitch, has he? I think it would be typical though of Huddersfield's luck for Dave Carby to be leaving them and then go and absolutely smash it at Forest for the rest of the season. So I'll keep a close eye on him for the rest of the season because I'm really interested to see how he turns out. And Bristol City defender Bailey Wright has gone out on loan to Sunderland for the remainder of the season. I believe his contract is up at the end of the season as well. But those are some of the recently completed deals which have gone through in the Championship over the past 7 days. Now without any further ado, let's hop into some transfer rumours. And starting out with the news of Nahki Wells potentially being recalled from his loan move at QPR back to his parent club Burnley, as he has hit a decent bit of form in the Championship recently. Burnley will be willing to listen to offers for him, and basically they're looking to cash in on the player while he's in form. After scoring 5 goals in his last 3 matches, he's also QPR's top scorer for the season so far. It's understandable to see why Burnley are doing this. He made the move to Burnley from Huddersfield a few years ago for a fee of around about £5 million. Never really got the chance to shine at Burnley, but with the player hitting form in the Championship, you can see why they want to try and cash in on the player now, and there's definitely going to be interest in this player. We've already seen Wigan and Bristol City as 2 Championship clubs who are potentially interested in bringing in Nahki Wells. You know, Bristol City have been linked to an abundance of strikers already. They chased Eddie Nketiah for a long time in the summer. the same in January as well, but they've been knocked back on him. So Nahki Wells may be the player who they are going in for. Would be a massive blow for QPR's season. I believe his contract at Burnley is expiring at the end of the season, but the club has an option to extend it for another year. So I'd be interested to know what the fee they'd be looking for would be. He's currently 29, can score goals at this level. He'd be a good option for quite a few Championship clubs. Wouldn't be surprised to see if Leeds were interested as well. Another player to be linked to Leeds United has been Jarrod Bowen over the last few days. I'm sure that these rumours around Jarrod Bowen will continue to circulate until the last day of the window. If you are to believe the latest reports, then Hull are willing to sell Bowen only if their valuation of the player is met. Hull are holding out for around about £20 million, which I think is fair enough. I think Jarrod Bowen's an absolute top talent from the Championship. 16 goals and 6 assists so far this season from a wide area is fantastic. We've seen West Brom being linked with him earlier on in the transfer window. Newcastle are the latest Premier League club to be linked to the winger, but they at the moment are seemingly only willing to pay £12 million. There has been a bit of a rumour going around that Bowen's contract is up at the end of the season, and while that is sort of true, the club do have the option to extend that for another year, which of course they will go on and do. So Bowen's still got 18 months in a contract at Hull, and so for this January transfer window and the summer really, that still leaves the power with the club as to what they want to do with the player. Reportedly, Leeds did inquire about him last week, but were looking to do sort of a loan to buy option, which Hull weren't just going to entertain. As the days do go on and more clubs get desperate though, I think we could see more offers coming in for Bowen. We have spoke about Andre Gray quite a bit on the channel recently and his link to Leeds United, but this move looks to be quite the possibility now for Leeds, and it looks as if it will be a loan deal with the option to buy in the summer if this one was to go through. I mean, if Leeds do manage to pull that off, that would be a cracking signing for them. A lethal finisher in the Championship, you know. They've got Bamford there who does the work for them going forward, but I just can't hit the target at the moment. He showed from his time at Burnley and Brentford that killer instinct in front of goal, which Leeds are lacking at the moment, and would be a massive statement for them for the rest of the season if they did pull it off. As well as the link to Chalem, which does seem to have died down a little bit recently, they've also recently been linked to Middlesbrough striker British Sombolonga. Now, this one looks to be the plan B option if they don't manage to pull off the Andre Gray move. British Sombolonga is an interesting striker. Would he sort of thrive in a Bielsa system where there's lots of chances being created? I'm not so sure. He's very hot and cold for Middlesbrough. You never quite know what to expect from him. Had a terrific time at Nottingham Forest, but since he's made the move to Borough, been very up and down. He's also been very injury prone as well. I'm not sure what to make of that one. And a bit of a left field option for Leeds going forward has been the link to Umar Niasse, possibly on a loan deal for the rest of the season from Everton. This may be in plan C for Leeds. It's an interesting one, obviously. He's played his football in the Premier League for the last 4 years, and in that time has been fairly hot and cold for a 29-year-old footballer as well. He's only played 158 professional football matches, which isn't a lot. We've not seen him at the Championship level before, but I'm not really sure what to make of that one. But of course, Leeds aren't the only side at the top of the Championship who are looking to strengthen their side in January. Mislav Oršić has been heavily linked to a move to West Brom. The Croatian winger currently playing for Dinamo Zagreb, having a really good season for them so far with 19 goals in all competitions, including a hat-trick in the Champions League against Atalanta. That is a player with pedigree and a player who would add real qualities to that West Brom squad. You know, with them falling off lately, the injuries to Diane Gardner, someone like Matty Phillips whose form's fallen off, a player like Oršić who can play anywhere along the front line would add real quality to that West Brom squad. It's looking like he cost around about £10 million, but for the price of promotion, that could be a really good deal for West Brom. Dwight Gale's the other obvious link to West Brom, as they're also in search of a striker, but they've recently been linked to Carlin Grant, the Huddersfield striker. After scoring 12 goals and grabbing 4 assists for them so far this season, the 22-year-old is in very high demand, and it's understandable to see why. I do think that if Bilic is backed in this window, then West Brom should probably go up, but I am interested to see who they will get through the door by the end of the month. Swansea playmaker Bertrand Selena has been linked to the Premier League, and Brighton are reportedly the interested club. Obviously, the link there with Graham Potter, and Potter bringing him into Swansea would make sense. Selena's had an interesting season so far. A few games where he's just sort of faded out and not really had the influence we were seeing from him last season. 2 goals, 2 assists so far this season, but put in a brilliant performance at the weekend against Wigan, brilliantly setting up the second goal for Andre Ayew, involved in the first goal as well. I think there's been that whole debate around Selena so far this season. Where's his best position? Is it out on that left-hand side where he can cut in, or is it in that number 10 role? I believe the player's got 18 months left on his contract. Swansea fans, I'm sure, will be hopeful of keeping hold of him, but an interesting one to see how that develops. Brighton not yet putting a bid for him, but are interested. Blackburn Rovers are reportedly interested in Sunderland goalkeeper John McLaughlin, with his contract expiring at the end of the season. They either could go in for him now in January or could wait until the end of the season when his contract is up. Obviously, with Blackburn's number 1 for the season being Christian Walton, who's currently on loan there, they're looking to secure a number 1 going forward into the future. John McLaughlin being a very reliable goalkeeper in the past. Josh Windass has been linked to Cardiff City in the last few days. An interesting player since making his move from Rangers over to Wigan. He's shown glimpses of the player that he can be. He's not consistently showed that so far. He is very in and out of games. But you feel like, and I felt like this last season watching Windass, that in the right system, I do think he would be quite effective. Obviously, Cardiff are looking to add creativity to their side with a lot of that flowing through Lee Tomlin at the moment. Rangers defender Connor Goldson's currently being linked around the Championship with Fulham, West Brom and Leeds. The club said to be interested in the defender. Quite an integral figure at Rangers lately, and I'm not sure they'd be willing to let him go in January unless the price was to be quite a bit. Would be a good signing for any of them, but I'm not sure I can see that happening in January. Birmingham are the latest club to be linked with Stoke striker Lee Gregory. He did play last night against West Brom, so I'm interested to see what Stoke plan to do with the player, whether they are willing to let him go out yet or not. But Birmingham obviously in need of another forward option for January. I'm not sure if Lee Gregory is the type of player they should be after. I don't feel like he'd be a bad option for a few clubs, but I feel like Birmingham are lacking maybe a bit of pace centrally next to Djukovic. Matty Cash, another player who Birmingham have been linked to in the last few days, would be a brilliant option for a lot of Championship clubs, and there has understandably been a lot of interest in Vidra so far. Scored over 15 goals in the 3 of the 5 seasons he's played in the Championship. Can obviously play as an out-and-out striker or as a number 10 behind, gets brilliantly involved in the build-up play, very tricky on the ball. The move to Burnley from Derby was a bit of an odd one in the first place, given the football that Burnley play, but a player like Vidra was never really going to fit into that system. If you do play to his strengths and in the Championship though, what an option he would be. Maybe someone who could be on his way out of Birmingham. Obviously Jude Bellingham, with the season that he's had at only 16 years old, he was bound to attract a lot of Premier League interest, with Man United the latest club to be linked to the Birmingham midfielder. The fee being talked about around about £25 million. I've really enjoyed watching Bellingham so far this season. Very skillful on the ball, brilliant at getting out of tight situations, and really good at arriving late in the box and sniffing out those goal opportunities. Will go far, but I'd like to see him in the Championship for a little longer. After completing the deal for Scott Sinclair, Preston is still in the market for a striker, and Johnson Clark Harris is one name that keeps popping up and being linked to North End. We were linked to him in the summer as well. So far this season in League One, scoring 9 goals in 17 appearances. Charlton, another Championship club who are said to be interested in the Bristol Rovers striker. It's an interesting one to weigh up. Last season in all competitions he scored 17 goals, and the fee being talked to right is around about £2 million. Is it worth it? I'm not so sure. As well as Charlton being linked to Clark Harris, they've also been linked with Bristol Rovers captain Ollie Clark, as well as they look to bolster their midfield options. And we spoke about Connor Wickham in the last transfer rumour roundup video. Sheffield Wednesday still hopeful of getting this one done, but reportedly Crystal Palace did reject their first loan offer, as Sheffield Wednesday were only willing to pay around about a third of Connor Wickham's wages, which I think works out to be around about 12 grand a week. So obviously Palace are looking for someone to pay a higher contribution to his wages. Wednesday fans, how much would you go up to for Wickham? And then we'll end up with a bit of a mad transfer rumour of Nottingham Forest fullback Matty Cash being linked with a move to AC Milan. Obviously Matty Cash coming through as a winger, but this season has really found his calling as a fullback. Probably been the most consistent right back in the league so far. I think you'd be pressed to find many others better than Cash so far this season. He's been absolutely excelling in that role. But AC Milan have made an inquiry for him, if you are to believe the latest reports coming out from Sky Sports. I want to get Forest fans' opinions of this down in the comments down below. How much do you think Matty Cash is worth? But apart from that, guys, that will go on to wrap up today's transfer rumour video. If you've seen any others that we didn't mention in today's video, get them in the comments down below. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you do subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.